Evernote's founder is back with a product that makes Zoom fun again. Salesforce is all in on identity, and Slack is all in on identity. That and more on this week's PLG123. Let's dive in. So tab one. Tab one is from Product Hunt and is about the newest product from Phil Libin, the founder of Evernote. This product is called which is fun to say, but might get a little bit annoying at scale. Nonetheless, this has to be the coolest product I've seen in a long time. So Zoom is great, but it's kind of limited in terms of what you can actually do on the platform from a presentation standpoint. There just aren't that many options. You can show your video, you can show your screen, but that's kind of about it. What if you want to do something more creative that looks like a broadcast? You could use OBS or another platform like that, but it's kind of clunky and there's a steep learning curve. So is coming in to make that a lot easier and to give you more options on Zoom, but in a way that's extremely user-friendly and easy. For example, you see here from the launch video that you can show slides or show content over your shoulder, much like you would see in a broadcast. There's other really cool features like dynamic decks where I can show a deck, but you can help advance it so we never have to pass back and forth control. The biggest call to action I would have for you is to actually just go and watch this launch video because it is great. Not only does it show a really cool product, but I had no idea that Phil was so hilarious. It's an extremely great video and the update videos have been just as good. So check it out. Tab two. Tab 2 is from TechCrunch and is about Salesforce's large investment into Auth0. So Auth0 just raised its Series F round of funding from Salesforce Ventures. This was a $120 million round at a $2 billion valuation, as we see here in the headline from TechCrunch. So if you're not familiar with Auth0, it's the developer platform that enables sign up, single sign-on through third-party services like Slack or Google, managing password resets, decommissioning users if they've left an account, all of that user management, identity management, authentication stuff that is incredibly important, but as it also can be incredibly painful for developers to build from scratch. So Auth0 has a turnkey platform for that. And look, there are obvious value props and benefits that TechCrunch talks about here, which is around security. Account takeovers, credential stuffing, all of that kind of stuff is mitigated by Auth0. But there's also a really interesting product-led growth angle here as well, which brings me to a shameless plug. So if you know anything about me, you know that I love emojis and I love putting them into decks to explain product-led growth. So this is one of my favorite product-led growth slides in explaining the need for friction to be removed from the funnel in a self-service, bottoms-up product-led growth model. Now that friction typically comes from humans in the funnel and you want to automate all of that stuff and make it extremely easy. If you see these first two parts on the right, sign up and SSO, they're both about removing friction for the initial user acquisition. Instead of filling out a long form, requesting a demo, talking to sales, going through a contract negotiation, I can just press sign in with Google or something of that ilk, and it's extremely easy and it removes friction. There's also an added benefit later, which is we've all had the experience of trying to go and revisit an app and having forgot your password or your password manager didn't update it, or you haven't logged in a while, you don't remember what your username is. All of those things that might cause you to just churn if those things are getting caught in spam. If Auth0 can remove all of that friction, it also drives re-engagement and retention throughout the entire customer journey. So boring identity plumbing is extremely important, extremely valuable, and it also pays given the $2 billion valuation. And lastly, tab 3 is from slack.com and is the announcement of their newest acquisition of a company called Rimeto. So as you see here, Rimeto is all about the company directory. Now, a company directory of, who works at my company, what is their name, their title, their phone number, their email address, those kinds of things aren't rocket science. You can get that in any number of locations. But the problem is, in a large organization, if you don't know somebody's name or title, how do you find somebody to collaborate with? How do you find somebody who runs a particular project? And so to find the right person in a large organization, you're probably sending a lot of emails, sending a lot of Slacks, and maybe even looking at LinkedIn for your own company. None of those things are a particularly good use of your time if you're just trying to find out who I should talk to and who I should collaborate with. You want that to be as seamless as possible and to not have to go to a bunch of different screens. So Rimeto takes all of that normal contact information, name, title, contact info, whatever it may be, but it enriches it with what department do you work in, who's on your team, what projects are you responsible for, what are you currently owning today, so that if you don't know somebody's name and title, you can still find the relevant person in your large organization. And then you could invite them into a Slack channel or into Slack Connect to collaborate internally and externally. So you see the value of Rimeto on its own, but you also see the combined value of the two products together. So that does it for this week on the PLG123. Make sure to follow me on LinkedIn for more PLG content, and stay tuned for our weekly episode drops of the PLG123 that happen here on LinkedIn. Hope you guys have had a great week, and take care.